This painting is called Sunday on the Grand Jatte by George Seurat. Notice how this painting looks a little fuzzy? That's because this painting is made up of tiny little dots of color. This is a style called Pointillism. The artist was really interested in science and how people see and interpret color. So from a distance, we can see the subjects, the painting makes sense. But when we look at it up close, you're only going to see tiny dots of color and you're not going to see any solid lines. Here's a close-up of the bottom of this lady's skirt. And you can see the shadow is made up of green, blue, pink, red. And notice there's no solid line. Here's a Pointillism color wheel. You can see that when red dots are put on top of yellow dots, it looks orange. This drawing is made up of only black dots, and you can see that when the dots are close together, you get a very dark color, and when they're spaced apart, it's much lighter. Take a look at this landscape. There are no lines in this landscape. All those dots of color are strategically placed to create the picture. Your assignment is to create an artwork with Pointillism. Open your sketchbook to an empty page. And we're not going to use the whole page. We're only going to use part of a page, probably a little less than half. Pointillism can be very time-consuming. I'm going to make a rectangle to frame in my drawing, and I'm going to use my colored pencil box to help draw that rectangle. You can use whatever you might have at home, but don't make this too small. We have to fit a landscape inside this shape. Okay, we're going to draw 2 pumpkins. And I'm going to start with a long oval shape. This is going to be the center of my pumpkin. And right next to that, I'm going to draw a long skinny C. It's connected to this oval. This is going to be the next section on my pumpkin. Then I'm going to do another long skinny C right next to it. And on the opposite side of that oval, I'm going to do a backwards letter C. And then another one. And then on top, I'm going to make a stem. Let's make another pumpkin behind this one. It's going to be overlapping. I want it to take up quite a bit of space. So I'm going to make this one taller. So I'm going to start by making a tall oval, and then I'll continue drawing the pumpkin the way I did the first one. And then add a horizon line. I have some extra space down here, so I'm going to just do a little baby pumpkin. And now we're going to be ready to add some color. In Pointillism, there aren't going to be any lines. So all these pencil lines that we drew, we're eventually going to erase. But before we do, use a brown marker and do small dots on top of the lines that we just drew to help guide your drawing. I'm also going to put some small dots of brown in the area where I know I'm going to have some shadow or I want my darkest colors. Here are the areas that I put brown dots. Then I added red, and I overlapped on top of the brown and brought the red about halfway up the pumpkin. Then I added orange and yellow. I did orange over the brown, red, and in some of the empty white areas, and I filled in with yellow in the upper half of each pumpkin. Next, let's work on the grassy area. Put light blue down first where you think it should be darkest. Usually it's towards the bottom of the paper. And then overlap it with a dark green and light green. The light green should be towards the horizon line. Fill in the sky with light and dark blues. Put light blue down towards the horizon line and then overlap it with dark blue. If you want to look darker in the sky, you could use blue and purple. And last, erase all your pencil lines, so all we see are those dots.